This is the Peral's Report.
How's it going? This is Leo Perales, and this is the Peral's Report. Let's talk. So, today I wanted to do a special podcast commemorating 16 years later after the attacks on September 11th, 2001, in which I was a freshman in high school. So I'm still a youngin'. I'm a millennial. I'm part of the millennial generation, and I remember that day very vividly. And I'm you know what? Just real quick, I just want to say I appreciate this podcast personally because it's really become therapeutic and it allows me to think about things and then discuss them with you guys. And then I get feedback, and then it kind of challenges me. So I appreciate all the emails that I've gotten and retweets and stuff like that. But I still remember. I remember when it happened. You know, I kind of thought like a natural disaster happened at first. I really wasn't sure to make of it because, to be honest, in my household, we didn't talk about politics. We didn't talk about the Gulf War. Even though I had individuals in my family who were in the military, you know, I have Vietnam vets and things like that. But we never really talked about politics. I think we talked more about racism and how, as Latino, sometimes you are kept out of the inner circles of a community. But my parents never really delved into politics until I got older and I became politically aware and conscious that I started asking them questions about the past. And I love doing that. I like asking individuals older than myself of things about the past and their perspective so that I can learn. But I just remember that day. I thought Mount St. Helens erupted again or something. It's just I couldn't make any sense of it. And my dad really didn't talk about it because I remember he turned on the TV and all I saw was smoke, like a fire on TV. And really when I look back at it, even though I was about 15 years old, everything seems so cloudy now. But I just knew something was wrong. And my dad really didn't talk about it on the way to school. I remember he dropped us off, but I remember hearing kids in the school, in the hallways talking about it. I remember one guy in particular, I don't even remember his name, but he was a senior. He was one of the cool guys, and I just remember him really frantic and telling another guy that they bombed us. They freaking bombed us. One of the towers went down, and really, I didn't even know what the World Trade Center was. I mean, that's how far removed I was from politics. I wouldn't say geography. I mean, I didn't even know that the World Trade Center was in New York. But I did learn about it that day. That's all we did that day. You know, you had the school counselors come in and asked if anyone needed any comforting. And then you heard all these rumors, where I lived, that they were thinking about bombing Hanford and just little things like that, conspiratorial type things. And it was just kind of an odd day. And I went back home, and I remember my parents talking to us about it as kids. And I remember the teachers asking us about it. Prior to that, the only thing that I remember that was eventful in my life was the Columbine shooting. I remember when the day after that happened, didn't really know that happened. I remember teachers just having I would call it like a quiet day, where they would just talk to us and ask us if there was anything wrong, and that was definitely one of those days. And 9/11 was definitely one of those days, and I do love the phrase "never forget," because it's something that I can never forget that day. I really can't. After learning more about it as I grew older, and how every year we celebrate just our human spirit, our fearlessness, and our ability to move on and rebuild, and just that sense of community, how an event like that can bring people together. Because I really do think that it brought people together. It just made New York stronger, right? And it made the nation stronger. But I'm so happy that nothing like that has ever happened again. But it's just in these times you really look into yourself and ask yourself if you can keep moving forward no matter what type of challenges or horrific events can happen in your life. Can you move forward? And I think that day really celebrates us as all of us as Americans, that we will always move forward. We're not going to let hate and evil win. And I think that's a lesson that can definitely be taught now, especially during this time where individuals of color, certain communities are just under attack and they feel like they're not wanted. I think they just need to look into themselves and look for inspirations like the individuals who ran into the towers that day, the people who lived there in New York, who had their city bombed, but they didn't give up. They persevered and they kept going. So that's what I remember 16 years later, and I'm definitely going to catch a couple of the shows on TV tonight that will definitely talk about it. It's definitely just a dark day in our nation's history. I know a lot of people don't like talking about it. They don't like watching the movies that Nicolas Cage is in. But I think it's good to understand what happened that day, not only from a historical standpoint, but just the emotional toll that it took on us as Americans. That was definitely one of the darkest days of the George W. Bush administration. I still remember that look on his face when I believe it was Andy Card came in and told him, "Hey, America's under attack." I still remember that face. That's a day that I will never forget, and I think that's why the perfect phrase that we use is "never forget," because you really can't. But if you have any comments, please email me, leoaperales@gmail.com. If you guys can go ahead and follow me on Twitter @LeoAPerales. I'm definitely starting to get some followers now, so I'm very happy about that. All the content I'm putting up, people are starting to notice and definitely giving me feedback and liking some of the stuff that I'm doing, and then also criticizing. I love it. This is a way to develop, in my opinion, it's just a way for me to talk about issues and see what other people think about it. Rattle their cages, and then hopefully find solutions for them. So please, you can follow me on Instagram, Leo_A_Perales, and I hope you guys have a good day and never forget this day. And really, I hope you guys just spend some time with your family and just really cherish these moments you have with them. There's a lot of people on that day who didn't get to go home with their families, and family members didn't get to see their loved ones come home. So definitely do not take your family for granted, your friends for granted, and give your friends a call, give your family members a call, and just see how they're doing. Awesome. Well, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.